Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the local pundit. Second time today. We had Josh on earlier. It is your Footie Tips Show. It is Pundit Punts, and we're going to go through and have a look at some games and figure out if we can work out who the winners are. It is back to the EFL. The FA Cup is a distant memory right now. We're going to concentrate back on the league. We've got to get into playoff position, people. That's what we got to do. So let's get into it. Hey, Donna, how are you? And Matt L was first in here. Matt L asked the question, are we predicting both this weekend's and next Tuesday's games tonight? I have planned only to do the weekend. We might cover off them in Ring and Rant or something like that on Sunday after the weekend's games with the midweek games, Matt L. And hello, Donna. Yes, so we're up and away. I am solo at the moment today, so that's all good. But we're back into it. It is super exciting because there's so much going on. Like, obviously, we had the FA Cup, and it went absolutely fantastic for us, beating Nottingham Forest. But also, just remember, even though they only played Walsall, Norwich had a 5-1 victory. So they're coming off a big victory as well. So, yeah, hey from Jersey. Jay to cousin, I don't know. Not even going to try to do that one for you, but great to see you here. Let's go, Wrexham, he's saying. That is fantastic. So, yeah, look, well, why don't I just get straight into it? Let's get into these tips and have a look at what is going to happen this weekend. So we do have a full round of games. I've got them here for us. We're into round 27. And first up this weekend, we have West Brom at home to Middlesbrough. Now, interesting here, as I look at the table, obviously Middlesbrough in second place. They've played their allocation of 26 games so far, so they've got none to make up. West Brom sitting down in 18th spot. They've also played their full allocation. Now, West Brom have had four losses, and 2 wins in their last 6, with 2 losses in their last 2. So not great in the league. And Middlesbrough, not too much better. They did win their last game, but they've also had 3 losses, a draw. So they've only had 2 wins. A little bit of a stumble in form lately for Middlesbrough. But Middlesbrough coming off the back of FA Cup in such a tight race for second spot. So both these teams need this win for different reasons. Obviously, Middlesbrough is to stay in the hunt for auto promotion, and West Brom currently sitting 7 points outside relegation. A good buffer, but you don't want to get too much closer to relegation because then you can start to get a little bit nervous. But anyway, so in this case, I have tipped West Brom here to get a win. No, I haven't. Sorry. I've tipped a 1-1 draw. I think both teams with so much to play for. West Brom, good at home. That's the only saving grace for West Brom here. Now, obviously, that'll be a great result for us, but that's my tip for this weekend on that game. Then we move forward. We got Coventry at home to Leicester. Really interesting here because what we have here, West Brom only adding 23 in their squad. Yeah, but time to come. So obviously they're saving space for the end of the transfer window. At this time of year too, Scott, that doesn't matter. They can play whoever they want. So it doesn't really bother them all through January and into the early bit of February, to be honest. But obviously we have the league leaders now at home. Barnstorming game, this one. This is really interesting because Coventry, obviously the league leaders on 52 points. Last 6, 2 losses, 2 wins, 2 draws. So, 8 points there out of their last 6. Not great. So not going as good as they were under Lampard at the start of the season. Still think they can go well, though. I do think that is very interesting for them. And they're coming up against a team that, I don't know what to say about Leicester right now. They really confuse me. They've had 3 wins and 3 losses, so no draws. So they're playing for the win, and they're not afraid to lose to do it. So that does make it very interesting in their case. So I'm just not too sure what to say here. But as you can see, again, I've tipped another 1-1 draw. nothing too exciting to start out the weekend for me. And to be honest, both those results and the next two games as well, I'm getting into a lot of games that have a big effect on us and what we can do in terms of catching up to some of these teams in the league. So, yeah, I've tipped a 1-1 draw there. I'm tipping Coventry to continue their stumble a little bit and start to come back towards the field. Next up, oh my God, Ipswich, who I think are still going to win the league, in my opinion, coming up against Blackburn. So, when I look at that, Ipswich at home, 4 wins, a loss and a draw in their last 6 matches and won their last 2, coming off the back of being knocked out of the FA Cup, which I don't think is a problem for them, to be honest. I actually think it's something that suits them quite well. I think that's really important. I think that basically, as I look at this now, as I go into it, so I'm just covering off some other information here. So just give me 1 second as I get this up. So obviously against Blackburn, and I just can't remember. That's right. Blackburn played Hull away in the FA Cup. It was a 0-0 match. Blackburn just can't seem to score any goals at the moment, and they lost to Pens 4-3. So they can't even win the pen shootout. Sorry, Blackburn. Hate to say it. But, I mean, look, and I do think that this is a team that is on a run. I've tipped a big win here for Ipswich, 3-0. We will be interested to see what happens there. And that's not great. I mean, Ipswich, with the game in hand on 44 points, if they do get a win here, go to 47, I've tipped Middlesbrough to have a draw. They would then move ahead of them on for and against as well. So they would move up into second spot. And if my predictions are right, it would mean that they would move to within 6 points of Coventry, which is starting to get a little bit nervous for Coventry, in my opinion. And also, Middlesbrough would be within 6 points of Coventry. So both within shouting distance, with still 19 games to go and 20 games still to go for Ipswich in that regard. Now, obviously for Blackburn, what this means is a loss. At the moment, they're only 4 points outside the relegation zone. Not great for them. The only saving grace for them is the teams below them all struggling as well, obviously being in the relegation zone. So we move forward now. Next game, we have Watford at home to Millwall. Now, interesting here because we have two teams, 5th and 6th on the ladder. Watford at home been playing great. 4 wins and 2 draws in their last 6. Millwall, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Both won their last 2 games in the league. But in terms of their latest game, which is the FA Cup, well, Watford got spanked 5-1 by Bristol City. And I'm just looking for Millwall's result here because there we are. Yeah, they lost 5-1 to Burnley. So both teams had big losses in the FA Cup. Now, the only thing here is Watford at home is the thing that interests me, which is why I've tipped them to just get over the top of Millwall, which obviously would put them above Millwall on the ladder, move them to 5th and Millwall till 6th at the moment. I still have more teams to go here. So we will see, because Millwall, what's not good for them at the moment is they are on a -4 goal difference. So, yeah, as I go through here, Josh is asking, how high can Wrexham get when we win this weekend? Well, Josh, I'll get to that in a minute, mate, as I get on through here. Next up, we have Southampton at Hull. Now, I will just get rid of that. And Southampton, been the disappointment for me, to be honest. I honestly thought they were starting to find some form. They're all the way down in 15th spot on 33 points, 8 points outside the playoffs. 9 points outside relegation. They're not going to get relegated. The question is, can they make up the 8 points and make the playoffs? I don't know, is my short answer to that. And they're playing Hull, who sit on 41 points, only outside the playoffs on for and against. Now, interestingly enough there, I've tipped a 2-0 win for Southampton. I've tipped them to bounce back. I'm not liking Hull at the moment, even though they did lose their last game, but in the league, and when I look at their game in the FA Cup on the weekend. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. So apologies for that. And I'm just bringing it up now. So, yeah, they were the Blackburn Rovers game. Obviously, they did win. So, but only on penalties, and it was 0-0. So not a great game. Obviously, both weren't playing full-strength sides. They're focusing on the league. But I think Southampton is going to get across the top here. And hello to you, Paul. I can see you there in the chat. Next up, this is interesting now. This is a game that obviously has no effect on us, but massive effect on not so much Sheffield Wednesday, because they're sitting 32 points out, 32 points off getting outside the relegation zone. So it's going to get very quickly to the point mathematically where Sheffield Wednesday can't get out of relegation. They're definitely going down, but even mathematically, they won't be able to go down. Now, they're playing at home to Portsmouth, and I'm actually tipping them to get their second win of the season this weekend. They've only had 1 win, 8 draws, and 16 losses. It's been absolutely terrible for them in their 25 games. So, they've got a game in hand as well. But Portsmouth have 2 games in hand and are sitting on 25 points, 1 point outside the relegation. So, literally a loss to them this weekend, my apologies. Not great for them because it gives Norwich and Oxford specifically the chance to gain some points on them. But moving right along, Preston at home to Derby. Let's see. We'll see how it goes here. I mean, obviously now I move back up the ladder because here's teams, Derby in 13th on 35, 6 points outside the playoffs, and really need to start getting some form going. 2 losses, 2 draws, 2 wins for them in the last 6 against Preston, who've had 3 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. Now, Preston at home, you would think they're going to be too strong, and I have gone that way. Preston have impressed me lately. 2-0 win for them. But next up, I'm going to move straight past that because I think that obviously will keep Preston on 43 points. We'll move them to 46 points. And the important thing for them is it keeps them very seriously in the conversation for auto promotion with a long way to go yet, though. So next, and Derby, well, it'll just keep them entrenched very firmly in the middle of the pack. Oxford at home to Bristol. Now, interesting here, Oxford down on 23rd position on 22 points, 3 points on getting outside of relegation. So if my prediction is correct and Sheffield Wednesday do get their second win of the season, they have a better for and against than Bristol. But they're coming up against a side that sits 2 points outside the playoffs in 10th spot, have had 3 wins, 3 losses in their last 6 matches. And I actually think this is going to be one of the few away wins this weekend. Bristol getting up 2-1 over Oxford. So, yeah. Next up, Stoke at home to QPR. Now, interesting here, Stoke is sitting on 40 points, only 1 point outside the playoffs, tied with us on points and have a 3-game better for and against than us. And they're at home to QPR, who's on 38 points, so only 2 points behind them and 3 points outside the playoffs with a -1 goal difference. So really interesting game here. Both teams so much to play for to try and get into the playoffs. So going to be very interesting indeed. And I have tipped a 2-1 win to Stoke, which isn't great for us because obviously it would probably, unless we have a massive win, keep them ahead of us on the ladder on for and against if we get a win. We will wait and see. I will skip us and go to Charlton at home v Sheffield United. Very interesting here because Charlton are sitting on 29 points, 5 points ahead of the relegation position of Norwich. And Sheffield United sitting on 32 points, which means they're 8 points ahead of the relegation, but also 9 points behind getting into the playoffs. Now, my opinion, neither of the teams getting relegated, neither of the teams getting into the playoffs. And I have tipped a Nathan Jones score. I have tipped 1-0 at home. And this is going to be Jones v Wilder. It's going to be very interesting. Cannot wait. I mean, that game is going to be a classic championship game, in my opinion. Now, next up, second last game for the weekend, I have tipped, we have the game, Swansea at home to Birmingham. Now, Swansea, 3 wins, 3 losses last 6 games, sitting on 32 points. Again, 8 points outside or above relegation and 9 points below getting into the playoffs with a -2 goal difference. And Birmingham sitting on 34 points, only 2 points above them. 1 win out of their last 6, Birmingham. What are you doing? You have to change this form. It was their last game, luckily for them. But besides that, 2 losses and 3 draws. Now, interestingly enough, this game, definitely, I'm going to say too far for Swansea. Just that extra 2 points, being 9 points away from playoffs. Too many teams between them and the playoffs. And I think they're too good, obviously, and too far above relegation. So they're going to end up in midfield. Birmingham, who, tongue-in-cheek, I predicted to win the league at the start of the year, just to put the pressure on John. Yeah, thanks for the jerseys. Yeah, Ruth. Yeah, got them. Sorry, who was love the jerseys? Sean. Yeah, put them all up there. Put all this season's up there and more one of the previous ones. But, yeah, I think Birmingham, 34 points, been a disappointment for me. I'm sure it's a disappointment for their fans. -1 goal difference for them too. Not big at scoring goals. 35 scored, 36 conceded. Now that math tells me Swansea 27 goals scored, 33 conceded, says a Birmingham win, but it is at Swansea. But Birmingham, I'm going to do right by you. I'm going to tip you to get the third away win. No, sorry, only the second away win. Got Bristol winning away and Birmingham winning away. So, yeah, they're the only 2 away wins I've tipped this round. Then I come back to now so far because, I might have tipped Norwich to beat Wrexham, but probably not. Obviously, we've both come off wins in the FA Cup. Norwich, 5-1 over Walsall. Us, obviously, everybody knows the penalty shootout against Nottingham Forest, beating a Prem team. Massive, that's all the talk's been about this week so far. But we have to get back into the championship because that's what's important if we want to get promoted. That talk is getting around now. I sort of didn't think, like a month ago, that we could make it through to the playoffs. I thought we were going to finish 7th. I have totally become much more optimistic now. I absolutely think we can do it. Norwich obviously sitting on 24 points in the relegation zone, -11 goal difference, had 6 wins, 6 draws, and 14 losses this season, have had 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw in their last 6. So they have had 3 wins in their last 6 games, plus, if you say 7 games and include the FA Cup, that's 4 wins out of 7. So going all right. Now, when we played them early in the season, I honestly thought they were one of the worst teams getting around in the league. But their form has totally changed since then. And they're coming to the race course. Luckily for us, home game. So that's great for us. We have obviously had 4 wins on the trot in the league. We also had a win in the FA Cup. So we are one of the form teams in the league right now. There's only, I think, 2 other teams that have had 4 wins out of their last 6, which I could be wrong on that. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. Hull have had 4 wins. Watford's had 4 wins. Ipswich Town's had 4 wins. So, ironically, go figure, all those teams sit above us on the ladder. But this weekend against Norwich, I've tipped a 3-0 victory. I think this team has really got something going at the moment. We've got our mojo. We're going into it. So by that rationale, when going back to Josh's question, and I'll come to some more questions in a second, but I didn't flag it. So how high can Wrexham get when we win this weekend by Josh? He's confident. Well, with those results, I've tipped a Watford win, so we won't get above them. I've tipped a Stoke win, so we won't get above them, even with the goal difference. And Hull, I have tipped to lose. So, ironically, we would only move up to, we would come over Hull, and that's it. Oh, no, and we would come over Millwall. So we would move to 7th, and Millwall would drop out. of the table. So 7th. The best we can get to is 5th. That is correct, mathematically. But more importantly, I'm not so much worried about where we are on the table so much this weekend. I've got my eye on the higher prize. I'm looking at second place right now, which is 46 points. Now, I've tipped Middlesbrough for a draw. I've tipped Ipswich for a win. So, therefore, second place after this weekend would be 47 points. If I'm correct with those two results. Now, only those two results. If Middlesbrough won, they'd go to 49, which means if with a win, we'd still remain 6 points off second. But if Middlesbrough get a draw and Ipswich get a win, we'll move to 4 points off second position. Like, this ladder is compressing. It's getting tighter and tighter. So it's really interesting. So there's my tips for this weekend. And I think, so I think that that's absolutely possible. And as I bring that up, I'll bring up the table for you, which is what I've just been looking at. So here it is. You look at that, Coventry, you can see 52, Middlesbrough 46, Ipswich 44. Then we've got 43, 43, 41, 41, 40, 40. So you can see how tight it is. Like, literally, so within 7, 8 points, 9 points, within 9 points of second is Leicester City. And that would be the last team that you think could get all the way up there. But I don't think Leicester can do it. They're just too inconsistent, not playing well enough. So I'm going to remove them from the equation. 8 points from QPR, who I don't think can do it either because they're not playing well enough on a consistent basis. So I remove them. So the top 10 teams, I think Bristol City at 7 points outside second place. You can say definitely fair enough. They've got a chance of still getting that to auto promotion spot. So you currently have 10 teams, in my opinion, fighting it out for the top 2. Now, you probably, in all fairness, have to give one of those positions to Coventry, but not guaranteed. If they continue some average form, that'd be heartbreaking for them to drop out of auto promotion after the first half of the season they had. Would be absolutely heartbreaking. But let's have a look here. I'm going to go through some of the comments. Yep, River Taffy, if results go our way, we could get to 5th. Sorry, 4th if Millwall and Preston were to lose. Yeah, but I just can't see that happening, Mad Al. I just think it's too much. Hi to Chris. Yep. Mad Al, 100%. I think it's amazing that they talking about squad size. Hey, TLP fam. Do we think Moore is back this weekend? Maybe. Maybe not, though. Depends on Smith, I think. How'd Smith pulled up after coming off hobbling? Because I think Parky would probably like to give Kiefer Moore one more week, or at least till the midweek game, which is coming up, where we play midweek. There is midweek games, and we're playing Leicester at home. So I think he'll play one of those games. We might come on, for minutes in this game, maybe as a sub. We're 7 points off automatic. Well, technically, we're 6 points off automatics. We're on 40 points and Middlesbrough's on 46. The problem is that just to get to their point. Well, no. Yeah, that's fine. We have technically only 6 points off automatics. Let's have a look. Love the jerseys. Yep, got that one. Let's have a look here. If we can do Mad Al, if we can do business early and not wait until 31st of January, we could be up there by mid-February. It's the 14th today and the knife is getting blunt. Don't know about that, Mad Al. I think business is coming. Points away from milestones is nice, but it's the number of teams between you and that milestone that is the issue. Yeah, and that's, Scott, why I'm sort of saying QPR, Leicester, Derby, it's a bridge too far. Like, basically 11 spotting down, I think I'll be very surprised if any of those teams are in the playoffs at the end of the season. And just remember, Leicester hasn't had any points deduction if they're bloody well going to get one. I mean, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Let's wait and see. Chris, we're about to punk the championship like we did League One. No more losing. Possibly, Chris. Possibly. Let's see. Paul Kelly's answering the question about Kiefer Moore. Bring on Cabora Moore at 60 minutes. Norwich would struggle to contain both of them. Yeah, especially Kabore, if he's fit, bit of speed. I like the idea of bringing him on as a replacement later in the game, keeping the harmony of this team and how it's been going, and just easing Kabore back in, because Kabore is definitely going to be part of the equation going in this 20-game run to the end of the season. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm all on board with that, Paul. Agree with you. Yeah. Chris, they all keep telling us it won't happen, yet it keeps happening. Well, and I'll get into that in a second. Yeah, Matt Al, you're mentioning the deductions. We have got to get a higher goal differential, Donna says. The top 4 teams have 11+ goal differential. Well, not all of them. Watford's only 8. Millwall's on -4, Donna. And then what you got to remember is that if we're catching up, well, technically 6 points. So if we're catching up 6 points, that means to do it at its absolute bare minimum, we win by 1 goal and they lose by 1 goal in 2 matches. That's 2 goals per round, which is a 4-goal difference, which would take us to, if we won by 2, take us to +8, and Middlesbrough would bring them down to +9. So only 1 goal better. So if there's a bigger goal difference in those, then we would overtake Middlesbrough just on for and against if we're even on points with them. And same to be said for Preston North End, who's only on an 11-point positive. And definitely Watford, who has only 8 goal better than 2 goals better than us, but Millwall's less than us. The one team that has the massive, well, 2 teams to be fair, that have the massive goal difference are Coventry and Ipswich. So yeah, good point though, Donna. But yeah, just remember that with a win and a loss for the other team, it gets that gap closes quickly. Yep. But like I said, I think it's compressing the table, and I think it's going to be a very interesting, even by the end of January, I think it's going to be super, super tight here at the top, in my opinion, looking at the games that are coming up. So, yeah. And Logan Roberts, it's because we need to let people go before we get new faces in to replace them. Well, obviously, the talk has been about Elliot Lee, Barney, McLean. Mullen won't play for us again on the pitch as part of, he won't be part of the squad list again. Just can't be. When you look at the strikers we have, you're going to pick Smith over Mullen. You're going to pick Moore over Mullen. You're going to pick Ryan Hardy over Mullen. You're going to pick Jay Rodriguez over Mullen. And then, Ollie Rathbone, obviously, who's come back and is playing absolutely strongly. Yeah, so unfortunately, love Paul Mullen. Absolutely. He's going to go down as one of the legends of the club. Over 100 goals for Wrexham. Helped us get promoted multiple times, Fantastic for him. I just hope he finds a great home and gets back to scoring ways. Yeah. And Matt Al's point there, if Moore is injured and Smith is in question, Hardy will be kicking the door of his donkey barn. Well, yeah, we will see, Matt Al. We will absolutely see. So, yeah, that is my tips for this weekend. The table is looking really interesting. And the important games for me for this weekend, looking at my predictions, obviously, West Brom, Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough could definitely win it, but if they get a draw or a loss, then they're coming back to the field. Coventry, Leicester. Coventry should win, but they have dipped in form lately, and Leicester's going okay, but not great. So, I've tipped a draw. Maybe that's a little bit more with heart than head, because Coventry should be favourites for that game. Ipswich, Blackburn, I'm confident on. Blackburn, look inept in attack lately. So I just can't see them scoring the required goals to beat Ipswich at home. This should be a good win for Ipswich. And if I'm right and Middlesbrough only get a draw, putting them in second place and Coventry get a draw, holy dooly, it puts them within 2 wins of Coventry, and Coventry will be looking over their shoulder because both those teams then would be only 6 points behind them. And this is where I fear for Coventry if they don't turn things around, because the last thing they will want to do is go into playoffs as opposed to automatic promotion. Yep. Let's do this. Let's have a look here. I've got some more comments as I've been going here. we'd probably need to loan them out to League One or League Two. Yeah, well, let's talk about Lee going out. Josh did talk about that this morning. You can expect a strong goal difference when we've drawn. You can't expect a strong goal difference when we've drawn 10 games. By definition, the goals cancel out. Yeah, but that's history, Madel. That's gone. We've gotten to this point and we're at +9. So we're right there. You know, Bristol City behind us is on +9. Sorry, we're on +6, sorry. Bristol behind us is on +9. Hull up ahead of us are on +2. Watford's only on +8. Millwall's in the playoffs with a -4, but they did cop that massive. I think they were the team that copped a 5-0 drubbing by Coventry, which really hurt them. Let's do this. 63. Cannon will be on the list to depart. I think he's coming. I don't know about that yet. It just depends on the business that we do. Not 100%. Brunt is injured, but Brunt is back training, Mad Al. Brunt is back training, and they won't fill his spot, I don't believe. I think he's going to be on the squad list because, remember, before he got injured, he was starting and he was doing fine. And Brunt, I think, is the final piece of the puzzle that finishes off our backline rotation, which is looking fantastic. I don't think we need to do any business there. So yeah, I'm not convinced Cannon will be loaned out. He could be. I'm probably a little bit of a soft spot for him. The thing I like about Cannon, super quick, can be a definite threat, you know, with his speed. When you look at Cannon, Rathbone, Kabore, those three players, and Smith compared to Moore, you know, and Broadhead's good too, but there's some good speed there, and I think that's important in the back end of the season. I don't know about that, Mad Al. Mad Al is saying he won't be match fit for 12 weeks. And by 12 weeks, 12 weeks? No way, Mad Al. He'll be definitely match fit before then, because what you got to remember is if he's on the training pitch in full practice now, like they're not just talking about, he's been on the training pitch for a little bit. So now he's back in full practice. I would say he's 3 weeks away from playing, Mad Al. First week of Feb. Yeah. So I'm going to disagree with you on that, but you may be right. I may not be. Who knows? Yeah, I'm surprised. Let's do this. I'm surprised that Birmingham is so far down, but not so surprised about Charlton. No, Charlton had a great start to the season. Then they've, you know, like literally their starting 11 was good, but they had nothing behind that of substance. And that's what really hurt them. So, yeah, I would say that that's their problem. Yeah, so, yeah, and Logan's agreeing with me there, Logan Roberts, on when Brunt would be back. But Charlton, you know, sitting on 29 points, Charlton has to be careful now. They have to do probably 2 bits of good business. They're 5 points outside of relegation. Luckily for them, if my prediction's right, we'll be doing good by them and keeping Norwich down. And also, if my score prediction's anywhere close, we're really going to hurt their for and against. So that's interesting. So, yeah, interesting. But, yeah, and then coming back to us, because, I mean, we are a Wrexham channel. When I look at our fixtures, you know, obviously home to Norwich, home to Leicester, away to QPR, and away to Sheffield Wednesday. Could be a very good January, people. Could be a very good January. So, yeah, and obviously Leicester is away to Coventry. So they're away to Coventry and then away to us. So very short turnaround, 2 away games up against the league leaders. So, yeah, how many games have we played with the full squad? I'm going to say 0, Paul, because no one – and I don't know that any team could probably say they've had their full squad available. So, yeah, I guess a better question there, Paul, might be how many games have we played with, say, 85% squad where we've had enough really, really good players that it hasn't looked weak. So, yeah, that's probably what I would say is a better question. Yeah, because I don't think any team in the whole league has had a full strength squad for a game. So they may have, but it would be the exception, not the rule. So yeah, but we have obviously Norwich at home this weekend. Tomorrow we have TAC Fortitude. So yeah, going to be good to see how Aaron breaks down how we're going to take care of Norwich, do business this weekend. And then, I don't know, and then we've got obviously Leicester coming up on Tuesday. But the way we've been playing lately, that's what I want to see. So I hope that's what Aaron's predicting that we're going to do. And that would be fantastic for us because I think we can continue on this winning way. We definitely have looked very strong lately. We are looking like we can do it. We can get business done. So, yeah. I think that will cover it off for today, guys. I really appreciate you all coming in. Don't forget, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Become a member if you haven't become a member. Like Doc Wrexham, consider becoming a member. We really appreciate it if you would. But, yeah, we've got players coming back. The squad's looking strong. You make a very good point there, Doc Wrexham. So, yeah, but if we can get one or two players on top of these players coming back, it's going to be a matter. The question there is going to be, who's going? That's a good question because it's going to be interesting. So, yeah, that's one thing to consider with our squad. Obviously, between now, 14th of January for most of the world, 15th for me. So there's only 2 weeks left of January. So I would have to think by next weekend, we may have to be hearing something. So, yeah, fingers crossed. But like, subscribe, consider becoming a member. On the way out, just remember, tomorrow we have TAC Fortitude. You'll probably get a breakfast club from Josh as well. He might have some breaking news. He's the man with all the latest. And then we get into the weekend where we have, as per usual, game day build-up, watch along, and extra time. So, guys, thanks for coming in today. Really appreciate having you all here. We will see you all again next time. And on that bombshell, we will see.